MorningLine. Our guest with us this morning is Metro Nashville Vice Mayor Jim Shulman. Always good to have him on here. We're taking some phone calls as we're talking, at least right now, on the stadium deal, which will be addressed tonight, at least talked about a bit at the Metro Council meeting, first reading on some of these issues. And we had David waited through the break, so let's take his call. David, good morning. Hi, David.
Hey, David.
Yeah, good morning. Good morning to all of you. Thank you.
Sure.
I am a season ticket holder for the Titans. I am a ticket holder for the Predators.
Huh?
Let me tell you something. I disagree with this. I'll tell you why. Number one, 20 years ago, they told us that the funds, that they've earmarked to maintain the stadium up to the 2030s will be enough. Now they're telling us it won't be. Number two, they told us, okay. Number two, the climate control of an enclosed stadium costs a lot of money.
Right.
Your home, your HVAC climate control costs a lot of money. This is what they haven't looked into. And then you see the facade renderings of the new stadium. I can take those facade renderings, put it in the current Nissan Stadium, and you'll be looking from across the Cumberland, and it will be the same thing. I'm an engineer. I have a roof system that is better than the roof they are proposing for this new stadium.
So you have an idea that would make the stadium better and more affordable?
I have brought this up, and I have been neglected. Okay, bring their engineers, sit them down, sit me down, let them bring their own. I bring my own, and you will see that I have better dealings.
Okay, and listen, if he's an engineer with an idea, they haven't hired the architects yet, okay? Those renderings that we were showing you a bit are from the Titans, and it's an idea of what it might look like. They're not even there, and I think, David, if you have an idea, certainly at these public hearings, I don't know, you could reach out to the mayor's office if you're an engineer. It's interesting, he talks about climate control, and we are talking about a dome stadium. Now, one savings will come with this. It's going to be turf. It's not going to be grass, which takes maintenance. Boy, you know how expensive sod is? And I remember seeing how they were resodding the stadium field after one of the concerts before a game or something like that, and they had rolls of it left. Sod is a fortune, and to water and keep it so. But he's right, climate control, indoors. What do you think about someone with a suggestion as an engineer for a better roof? Can he reach out to the mayor's office?
Well, two things. I was going back to my vacation last week and going, it's a much simpler life, particularly when you get on the countryside and, there's lots of sheep and there's, cows and people are going like, it's an easier than not so much stress. This is a lot of stress.
This is stress. Okay, so you're feeling welcome back, my friend.
Yeah, I know. So I got to get back into this thing, recover from jet lag and get moving. Now, what I would tell David is this. It sounds like he's tried to get fence across. Look, the Titans are a part of Nashville and Tennessee, and if he's got an idea, he can send it to me. I'll send it over there, and it's just Jim.Shulman. It's SHULMAN at Nashville.gov, and David just send it to me, and I'll pass it along. Or I would tell you this: you were talking about public comment. We haven't gotten to this point yet, but I think we'll probably have a public hearing at some point on this, where people once everything is kind of fleshed out, and you try to figure out what's going on, what does it really mean, what are the points, then I know that this group, the task force and the council, is going to go out to different parts of the city and have some open discussions. I think we'll have to figure out whether we're going to have a public hearing on the floor of the council just to have people come in and talk. And if they do, that's fine. If that's what we end up deciding, more power to it. And David can come and talk about it. But if he wants to send his information over now, he can send it to me and I'll send it over there. It reminds me, if you've been in the city center. If you go up those escalators, the thing is massive.
Yes, it's huge.
The convention center. But there's a lot of, it feels comfortable in there, but there's a lot of open space. So I'm sure that was figured into the design, and it'll have to be figured into this design as well.
I think Raymond had a follow-up after he heard us talking about him. Go ahead, Raymond. What's your follow-up?
The I must admit, I don't understand all the complexities of the city's obligations for maintenance, but I trust that you do, Nick. And when you say that you're following it and you're starting to come around, that makes me believe that that is something that could be beneficial. But my question is then how long would the Titans go without building a stadium? Because it seems that if they're saying they need a stadium, then they're going to want to build a stadium. And if the whole rationale is, well, over the next 17 years, we're going to pay so much, it doesn't sound like they're going to let it go 17 years. So my response to that, or question to that, would be then, if they feel it's such a need and they're going to build one in the next 3 or 4 years, it goes back to why not just let them build one?
Are you talking about the Predators, David?
Anyway.
Are you talking about
it's Raymond.
Are you talking about the Predators or the Titans?
The Titans.
Oh, okay, yeah, but no. Because I understand, Raymond. If this new deal, and Amy Adams Strunk is in on it, she will sign a legally binding lease, and she's not going to want to go build her own stadium. She'll be thrilled with this deal. The moment this new stadium is built, by the way, increases the value of the Titans exponentially that they're in a new deal. So she will be legally bound by this new lease. They're not going to build a new stadium in 2 or 3 years. No way.
No, you misunderstood my question.
Okay. Yeah.
What I'm saying is they're saying they need a stadium. So that means that they want to see one built in the next 4 or 5 years. So they're going to do it with or without.
Oh, I see what you're saying. If we didn't do this.
Okay.
So that means that deal, that the bad maintenance deal that we're currently in for the existing one, would be ripped up anyway. Because on their own motivation, they're going to build a stadium in the next 4 years.
But that would be, but just so you know, they can't do that because first of all, they won't. But second of all, they wouldn't do that because, as you just said, there is this legally binding contract and lease that requires them to continue playing in this stadium for the next more than a decade. Okay, and so they wouldn't like it, but they can't just tear that up and say, no, we're building our own, we're leaving. They're legally bound to stay in this stadium. Okay, to the end of this lease. They can't do that.
I'm not suggesting that would be the case. What I'm suggesting is, doesn't that give the leverage then to negotiate, because they're going to want a new stadium. The city wants to get out of this burdensome maintenance deal. So both parties have the incentive at that point to work together without that contribution.
Okay. Well, what do you think? I mean, I see what he's saying, and I think they've used that. I think he's exactly right. There's incentive for both, and that's what's created this new deal.
So Raymond is. I hear him. Yeah. I was not a party to the discussions.
Okay.
And everybody needs to remember the mayor and the vice mayor are completely separate offices, and so I have not been. Every so often I would hear that they were working on it, but I was not a part of the negotiations team. Nor did I really know what they were negotiating. Mm-hmm. But I think Raymond's right. My guess is everybody kind of, when you go into these things, you know what your leverage is going to be. And, legally binding contracts that are existing, that are in existence right now, you had that maintenance obligation that is sitting there overriding, a lot of these discussions. And again, the Titans saying, based upon our calculations, the city owed them $30 million. And it was going to go up every year. And then you started seeing pictures of, the joists and other things. It's like, so everybody's, playing to their advantage. In the end, the question is, what does this thing look like really when you finally get down to the documents themselves, and what are the responsibilities of the parties? Is this something good for the city, or is it not? And what about the old existing document? If we tear that up, is that good? Maybe it is, maybe it's not. Mm-hmm. So we have to figure out, I think we have to sit down and take a look at this. And then again, I go back to my original point at the beginning of the show, and that was, we're looking to make sure, are there any gaps in this thing?
Right.
Where we look at it and, the Titans, there's something where the Titans can put some obligations on us. I think they've worked through this. Obviously, we're not the first city to go through this.
Yeah, and I'm glad we have the council now taking this next step, because as I've said, I've talked to a lot of the people. I've tried to read what the mayor's office has put through, try to vet it, try to think about where the downsides are. I kind of hear what our callers are saying. And to my point at this, because of the existing poor contract that I don't think is great for the city, I'm of the belief that this is a good deal on a lot of different levels, aside from the fact that it's going to open up the development for the East Bank. But I'm glad, because I'm not entirely convinced, and I'm sure as heck no expert, that you guys and the council is going to go through this, vet it, and there's going to be some naysayers, which is great, and I want to hear what they have to say, and maybe it produces a better plan. But I'm of the belief that one way or the other we're getting a new stadium, folks. That's happening. That's going to happen. Let's go to Eric. Eric, good morning. Hi, Eric.
Hey, how you doing, Nick? As always, it's a pleasure to talk to you.
Good to hear from you.
Of course, I'm a Titans fan. Would love to see it happen. How much longer I'll be able to do it, I don't know, because I've had health issues and I am a season ticket holder. But I don't know if I'll still be doing it once the new stadium is open, if it is approved and come through. But there's two questions I wanted to ask the Vice Mayor. Number one of the things, of course, has been discussed is when you have like the building of the stadium that they have like minority contractors are going to be involved in the process. Just wanted to get your thoughts on that if that was going to happen. The other thing is, just once the stadium is built, do the people who have deals with the stadium, or are they still going to have deals with new stadium? And what I mean by that is, like, is it still going to be known as Nissan Stadium, or will it be another bidder be allowed to do that? Things like security, concessions, all that type of stuff. Are those still contracts going to be for the new stadium, or is it just going to be whoever is, makes the highest bid or whatever? Because I guess you may have like new people that may make bids to be associated with the stadium, whether it's naming rights or just whatever deals that people have with the stadium. Just want to get your thoughts on that. Good to talk to you guys. Y'all have a great day.
Thank you. I was thinking the same thing about, there's money made. Make no mistake, Nissan's paying coin to have their name on the side of the stadium. So is Bridgestone over here for the hockey. It's a big deal. And names change based on NFL franchises when there's a new sponsor. Just when you get used to calling it something, it changes to another sponsor name.
Yeah, and then you can't even pronounce the name.
You can't pronounce it.
It's like, did I say that right?
Call it the Titan Stadium.
So Eric's, both his questions are very valid.
Minority
contractors. I know that they came out right before I left. With what they were kind of calling community benefits.
Okay.
And there were different partners involved in that. I know that the city is interested in dealing with minority contractors, so I'm going to have to double check on that one and make sure we're clear. The other points I think are really valid because, we've been talking about this high level stuff for a long time, and it's like, what is it going to do? How much is it going to cost? Who's going to pay for it? What about the old existing documents? All those other things. The vendors. Then you start getting into, I don't know if we control that. That may be a Titans thing that they control with the vendors. So I don't know. The naming rights, all those things, I'm not sure if we have any control over that.
I just assume there's still going to be a name for the stadium. It's going to happen. I don't know. Right. I'm not sure who controls that either. Who gets the money? I'm guessing the Titans get the money from Nissan Stadiums. Nissan pays.
Yeah, I don't think we get it. I think it goes to the
and the vendors maybe the same way.
The Titans are smart enough to know what they want in terms of the deal. We're getting out of a lot of obligations that we owe. They're going to find ways to make money. That's what this is about.
Let's take a break, though. We'll come back, and we'll continue that. We got more calls. Todd and others, stay where you are. Our final segment with our guest, Jim Shulman, the Vice Mayor, right after this.